ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं च श्रणीनां द्विजरूपमदाभ्यम् बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं तदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुरा ततम्। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं क्लीं हसौ जगत्प्रसूत्यै नमः। ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Everybody say Hare Ramakrishna after me, three times. ॐ हरे रामकृष्ण हरे रामकृष्ण हरे रामकृष्ण। Welcome back. Yeah. English record. When you speak in English so that it can be recorded and people can understand.
Going back to very old, very basic something.
Yeah.
That we have before.
Okay.
When we said the dharma, Satham, Moksha, we referred in some lesson as dharma is ruled by sun and Kama is ruled by Saturn. Where are those differences when the moon and Venus rule the moksha? So where are those differences? Never we touched upon those things better.
Yeah.
How is Kama related with Saturn and
Yeah, we never really used it. See, those are basically not like karakas. If you want to say karakas for a particular thing, then what you say like Venus ruling Kama, etc. would be accurate. But this is a totally different context. These four Purusharthas, the planets that were mentioned, what you said is right. So you said for Dharma it is Sun and somebody else, and that somebody else is Mars. Never forget Mars. Will not be happy. He will be angry. Sun and Mars for Dharma Trikona. For Artha it is, actually wrong. For Dharma it is Mercury and Jupiter. For Artha it is Sun and Mars, right? And for Kama it is Saturn, like you said. For Moksha it is Moon and Venus. So these are the planets who basically, they are not karakas, they are not in charge of that particular activity. Some of these you will see that are actually in charge of those activities, but that's not the definition. When I outline these planets for the four Trikonas, these are not the karakas. It's not their job to ensure this, but it is their desire to ensure this. Each of these planets, they basically have a desire to influence this particular Trikona. So Mercury and Jupiter, they want to control the dharma of a person. They want to tell a person what to do, how to do. Whereas Sun and Mars, they want to make the person do things. Right. They want him to do something. Basically, they are the planets of action. And Saturn, what is you may say that Saturn is the karaka for working hard, not having desires, etc. But he basically intends to give a strong desire to the person so that he can work hard. And Moon and Venus, they are the planets of comfort, happiness. Both the planets, if you see, they are associated with the fourth house. They are the natural karakas for the fourth house. One gives relaxed happiness, which is lunar fourth house. And Venusian concept of fourth house is pleasure, luxury, etc. So both the ways, the two planets, Moon and Venus, they want to give happiness to the person. They want the person to be relaxed and happy, not have strong desire. If you are relaxed and happy, you can't work hard. But Saturn wants you to work hard. Whereas Moon and Venus, so that is why he has a desire to influence the Kama Trikona. So that his natural instinct of working hard is also joined by desire, and then the person will progress. Because that is where he is lacking. And if that is also added to what he is giving, then there is nothing stopping him. Whereas for Moon and Venus, the desire is to give happiness to the person. That is why they have an affinity towards the fourth house. So the main use of these four concepts comes in what is known as Digbala. We haven't done Shadbala because it's mostly calculational, computational. That's why we haven't really done it. But in the software, if you go to strength, in the top window, in the top view, you have something known as Shadbala. And these are the Shadbalas of planets, and these are the in terms of percentage, what are the strengths of planets. And if you look at a Shadbala breakup, Shadbala comes from 6 different kinds of Bala. Thana Bala, which means locational strength. Kala Bala, which is temporal strength relating to the time, the moment of time when the chart is cast. Digbala, this is based on the direction of the planet. Each planet has a particular direction that it is supposed to give to the person, and based on the direction that they are supposed to control, and whether they have an affinity towards that direction, how happy or how unhappy they are. That's what Digbala shows. This is out of 60. There is a score out of 60. And Chesta Bala is basically based on the motion, based on the activity of the planet. And Dirbala is based on the aspects that the planet is getting from various planets. Is it getting good aspects or bad aspects? So this Bala can actually be negative also. It can be positive or negative. All other Balas are positive Balas. They are on a scale of 0 to something. But this Bala can be negative also. And Naisargika Bala is the natural strength of planets. This is fixed for all people. This Naisargika Bala. Each planet has a particular strength. If you see Saturn, he is the weakest. If you see Sun, he is the strongest. And Moon is also quite strong, though not as strong as Sun. So there is a particular order. And then Venus is next strong. After Moon, it is Venus and then Jupiter. And then Mercury. So this is the natural order of strength of planets. So when you combine these 6 Balas, Naisargika, Dhrib, Chesta, Dik, Kala and Sthana, when you combine all the 6 Balas, the cumulative score is known as the Shad Bala. Shad Bala means 6 source strength, hexa source strength. So coming back to the Purushartha question, this Digbala, this is the Bala that uses that particular concept that I touched upon in a previous class. In other words, Sun and Mars, they get the maximum Digbala when they are on the cusp of the 10th house. That's where they are happy. If they are told to control the Artha Trikona of the person, control the purpose served by this person in the world, they are happy. Mercury and Jupiter, they may be happy with Artha Trikona, they may be happy if you tell them take care of his moksha, but what they really want to do is control the dharma of the person. Give him a good sense of dharma. Tell him what to do, how to do. So Mercury and Jupiter get the maximum Digbala, the score of 60, when they are exactly on the cusp of the Lagna, exactly on the cusp of first house. So Mercury and Jupiter are strong in first house, Sun and Mars are strong in 10th house, and Saturn is very strong in the 7th house from the point of view of Digbala. If Saturn is in 7th house, there may be other problems. It may not be a desirable thing. Of course, it may not be desirable to have Saturn in most houses. But apart from that, if Saturn is in the 7th house, he has good Digbala. So Digbala is basically direction in life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the 4 directions in life. So when you place him in charge of the Kama Trikona, tell him to give desire to the person, give him desire, Saturn is happy, cool, I can give him a lot of desires and then he gives him desires, etc. Similarly, if you see that Moon and Venus are in the 4th house, again that's the house of moksha. That's basically the starting of moksha. That's where if a planet, the 4th house shows generally feeling happy, feeling relaxed. That is the starting point of getting moksha. So when they are placed in that house, they are very excited about it.
So these 4, 1, 10, 7, 4 are what the base of
the basis of the Trikona.
For why?
Yeah.
1, 5, 9.
Yeah.
5, 2, 6.
Yeah.
But why do you put 10th last one or two? Why not say?
They are also Ati Trikona.
Right.
But being a quadrant, it is basically the 4 quadrants are the houses of Vishnu. These are the places where Vishnu lives.
That's where Vishnu Sthana.
Yes.
Do you see this only in the Varna chart, or do you see it in any specific chart, like for profession you see the D10 and you see the planets in the D10,
Yes.
and say for Saptamsha you see in the D7?
Yes. In all divisional charts, if you see a planet placed in that particular house where it gets maximum Digbala, that planet has a very good Digbala, which means it can control the direction of the person very well. That particular Trikona will be very strong. If you see Sun and Mars in the 10th house, in Navamsha, in somebody's chart, then those 2 planets are very strong, have a very strong Digbala as far as Navamsha is concerned. So, when it comes to actually doing something relating to the Dharma, following the Dharma, implementing the Dharma in the world, that person will be given a lot of energy by Sun and Mars to do that. So, if you see any of these planets placed in the ideal house from the point of view of Digbala in any divisional chart, that is very auspicious, extremely auspicious.
So when you look at the Shadbala, is the weightage the same for each one account?
What? No, it's
0 to 60. What's the weightage?
well, weightage is basically the same, but you will see that the scale is different. For example, if you see Digbala, it is on a scale of 0 to 60. When you see Naisargik Bala, it is on a scale of 0 to 60. But when you see Sthana Bala, as you can see from the numbers, it is not on a scale of 0 to 60.
0 to what?
I think 360 or something. I don't remember exactly. 0 to 360, yeah. So Sthana Bala is getting 6 times more importance than Digbala and other Balas, Kala Bala. And again, Kala Bala is also very strong. You can see that the numbers are big. Kala Bala is a cumulative of various. If you look at the Kala Bala, see these are various categories of Kala Bala. Nato Annata Bala. Basically, Nata means somebody who is bowed, who doesn't have the right time basically, so he has to give away. And Unnata means somebody who has risen. So Nato Unnata means whether at that time he is proud and risen, or whether he has to take it easy for that time. He has to be humbled or proud. And Pakshabala is the fortnight. During certain fortnights, certain planets are strong, certain other fortnights, some other planets are strong. And there is a Bala known as Vibhaga Bala, where you divide the day into 3 parts. And then you have the Abda Bala, which is basically, what does Abda mean? Anybody know? Abda. Any Sanskrit?
Here?
Yeah. Abda is here. For example, you said Dashabdam means decade. Shatabdam means century. Abda means basically year. So Abda Bala is annual strength. There is only one planet who is going to get a strength of 15 here. All other planets will be 0. And as you can see, for this particular year when Arvindo Ghosh was born, Venus was the ruler of the year. He was the Abdesha. So he has maximum strength. Similarly, each month is given to a planet. So it was Saturn's month, so he had a strength of 30. As you can see, more than a year, month is more important. And Vara, the Varabala, that is basically the day, the weekday. That strength is even more important. And finally, Hora, the exact hour, planetary hour, that is even more important. So as you can see that as you go down in level, as you come to the level of 1 hour, it's actually 4 times as strong as year. So the moment right now is more important than the overall year. And then you have the Ayana Bala, which is, what is Ayana? Actually forget it. And then there is a Yuddha Bala, which is based on any wars between the planets. So based on all these things, you add them up and then you get Kala Bala. And overall Kala Bala and Sthana Bala are, you can see they get more weightage and others are not as strong. So to answer your question, you basically sum of the Balas, but the strength of the importance of each Bala is factored in the definition of the Bala. They are on different scales. So basically Sthana Bala is the most important and Kala Bala is the second most important.
So when you look at chart and
That's what I was going to say. Now the purpose of Shadbala, I have said this a few times in the past, but it is worthwhile to repeat this particular point. The point is, this Shadbala has a specific purpose. Don't think that just because somebody is in this particular chart, for example, if you see Swami Aurobindo Ghosh, let's see the summary, Shadbala strength. In terms of Shadbala strength, you see that Mercury has only 94%, right? On the other hand, if you see some other planet, for example, if you see Venus, he has 125% strength. So if you conclude that because Venus is stronger than, has more bala than Mercury, if you conclude that Mercury is weak in this chart, Venus is strong, that's not a good conclusion. This strength does not reflect upon a planet's ability to give its result. This strength is for a specific purpose. The purpose is when two or more planets are involved in a yoga, they are together or giving a Raj Yoga or something else, which one will give the yoga, results of the yoga, which one will dominate and give the results of yoga. That's it. If a planet has a weak Shadbala, it doesn't mean the planet is a bad planet in the chart. It is not. The only issue is when it comes to giving the result, that planet and another planet may have decided to give a good result together. But who will actually give that result? For that purpose, this planet will take it easy. He is not strong enough to run and give the result. This is like I and Sriram decided to do a particular task together, let us say. And then, because I may be busy with some other commitments, and Sriram may be taking control of that particular thing that we wanted to do together and writing all the checks that we wanted to do on behalf of our project. He may be doing it. He may be talking to all the people. So that is basically like a planet who has a stronger Shadbala. So out of several planets in a yoga, the planet who will actually deliver and give the results is the one with higher Shadbala. That's it. On the other hand, what is the relevance of Ashtaka Varga Bala? We talked about Ashtaka Varga Bala in the past. What is the importance of Ashtaka Varga? What that shows is, yes, how much strength they are getting from other planets. What is the cooperation? The events that this particular planet wants to give get from various other planets. Each planet has a particular agenda. In order to implement the agenda, how much cooperation it has from various other planets. That's it. Doesn't show anything else. So if it has cooperation from everybody, it is likely to give the result more easily. And also it can give the result in various dashas and dashas. If I have cooperation, suppose I decided to do a particular thing, and I have the cooperation of all of you, so I can tell any of you, take help and get it done easier. But let us say only Sriram wants to help me, all other people think it's a crazy idea. I decided to do a particular thing, everybody thinks, I don't think it's a good idea.
You got a limit of.
This is an example. Then I will not be able to ask everybody else to do it, but I can ask Sriram to do it. So it may be given in my dasha or Sriram's dasha. This is just an analogy. Sriram and I don't have dasha. Sadhu Vaswani Center is running PVR Narasimha. Anyway, coming more seriously. So, when a planet has a good Ashtaka Varga Bala, it is good because the planet can give its results in the dashas, antardashas of various other planets who have an Argala on it, who are aspecting it or whatever. Whereas, if the Ashtaka Varga Bala is weak, then the planet doesn't have the cooperation. So this is very important when you are judging dashas, antardashas, etc. This Ashtaka Varga Bala, this is basically the interplay between various planets. Whereas Shadbala is, when you know a particular result is basically going to be given by either of these 2 planets or 3 planets or 4 planets, you know which one, then to decide who will actually deliver the result. So for that purpose you use Shadbala. And then there is a Bala known as Vimshopaka Bala. It is right here. And actually according to Parasha, this is the most important Bala to judge the strength of a planet. So what this Bala shows is, if you look at various planets and see the strength, use Dashvarga for human charts and use these for other Shvarsvarga for royal charts, use Saptavarga for Muhurta charts, use Shadvarga for Prashna charts. So that is the classification. So let us stick to Dashvarga Bala. So if you see the Dashvarga Bala, this strength basically indicates how strong the planet is overall in the chart. Not just Rashi or Navamsha.
of health?
Overall, all the areas of life, all the important areas of life, how well disposed the planet is. So this shows whether the planet wants to give a good result or bad result. Whether the planet is well disposed or badly disposed towards this person. So that's what this bala shows. On the other hand, when I talked about Astakavarga bala, that bala changes from Varga to Varga. A planet may be getting a lot of cooperation from various other planets in the matter of D24, but getting poor response from other planets in the matter of D10, let us say. So when it comes to learning, whatever the planet represents, everybody will cooperate. But when it comes to career, the planet may be basically a loner. Everybody else may say, well, you want to give so-and-so result in his career? I doubt it. So all other planets walk away. So this planet has to struggle and deliver the results on its own. So that is the thing. Whereas this bala is across the board. Overall in the chart, how strong, not benefic, sorry, that was a bad idea. Because how benefic or malefic the planet is depends on the agenda of the planet. None of these balas capture that. You have to look at that individual chart. If you see, for example, his Navamsha, Mercury is the 9th lord, he is in 11th house, so he is a benefic planet. He wants to give good dharma to this person, so he is a good planet. If you see some other planet, Sun, he is the 8th lord, so he is not so good. Like that, you see the ownerships and strengths, and then decide whether a particular planet is good planet or bad planet for a particular area of life. Once you decide whether a planet is good or bad, Nishopaka bala basically tells you overall in this chart how strong or weak the planet is. Strong and weak are different from good and bad. A good planet may be strong or weak. Good planet being strong means good results given in abundance. Good planet being weak means good results but given very moderately. And bad planet being weak means bad results but given moderately, which is good. But bad planet being strong means very bad results being given. And also now we have good and bad, we have strong and weak. In addition, we have other things like afflictions, what are the other influences. If a good planet is strong and also in good Rajyogas, etc., then it is not only strong and it is well disposed, but it is pleased because it is in a good company. Whereas if a bad planet is strong and also afflicted at the same time, that means he is being provoked. If an afflicted planet, a planet afflicted by planets that it doesn't like, suppose Mars is with Rahu, and Mars is a very bad planet in a chart, and he is very strong, but in terms of strength he is very strong. And let us say he is afflicted by Rahu, that means it is like somebody who wants to ruin you, and he is very strong, has the ability to do it, and also he is so irritated because some people are pushing him, and then he is feeling, I don't like this. He is feeling like that. So in that case, the result will be even more terrible. So in other words, what I am trying to impress upon you is these various things that we are looking at, the associations, yogas, the strength, the overall nature based on ownership, occupation, etc., occupancy, etc. These are not, you can't make judgments just based on one thing. Sometimes if you make judgments just based on one thing, it may be right. But your judgment of the degree of the result may be off. But if you include all the factors, then you can get closer and closer to perfection in terms of judging the degree of the result as well as the nature of the result. Anyway, all this came because of, what was your question? Yeah. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha, those planets basically get stronger digbalas that strictly control whether they are happy with the direction that they are told to keep the person or not. That's it. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any chart that you saw and were confused? If there is any chart where applying any technique, Narayana Dasha, Adhikavesh or whatever, you could not explain something and you were confused and you wish somebody else could help you, then you can share it with the class. Now, you guys, I understand after I left in the last class, you guys sat together and give some examples.
That we won't want to share with you right now. We will share with you after we perfect the technology.
So you guys are still working.
We are still working on it.
It's a work in progress. Okay, good. Good luck. Good luck. Perfect it and then show it.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a chart I wanted you to
Okay.
give you the details.
Okay.
October 11,
The data is October 11,
1980,
1980,
born 5:22 p.m.
5:22 p.m.
in Detroit, Michigan.
in Detroit, Michigan. Yeah. One second, let me save the chart. Any name or initials or anything to save the chart with?
Let's put it under my name. Let's do it.
Saloni. Okay. So Saloni has this chart. I'll repeat the data again. October 11, 1980, 5:22 p.m. 4 hours west of GMT is the time zone. The place is Detroit, Michigan, USA. 83 degrees 2 minutes 45 seconds west. 42 degrees 19 minutes 53 seconds north. Okay.
My question on the chart is,
Yeah.
is a very young person,
Yeah.
Indian, and very, very strongly devoted to spiritual cause.
Spiritual cause.
The point where she wants to renounce everything and take, become a saint.
Oh.
So, and she's almost at that threshold where she's going to do that.
Yeah.
And because the people really know wanted to get there, because this has been going on for the last year and a half, but now it comes to a point where she's very clear that that's what she wants. And it's
Okay.
a pretty unusual case in that family that nobody's really taken
Okay.
devotion. So
Okay.
is she predisposed to her chart for something so serious at such a young age?
Okay, the question is, this lady is 24 years old and she is very, very interested in the spiritual path, and she wants to renounce the material world and become an ascetic, a sannyasin, and nobody in her family has gone in this direction in the past, and then they are concerned about what the future holds for her. Is this a big mistake that she will undo a few years later, or is this what she is destined to do? So this is actually, compared to normal questions that we get, this is a very important question for somebody. So let us try to do justice to it. Let us see the chart. First, just looking at Rashi chart, forget Vinshamsa and other divisions. Just looking at the Rashi chart, you get a sense that this is somebody spiritual. 12th house has Ketu, yes. So does it show spirituality? Yeah, in general, Ketu being in the 12th house shows spirituality. Who is the Atmakaraka? Atmakaraka is Moon. Where is he in Navamsha? Navamsha, he is in Atmakaraka, is in 4th house. And the 12th from Atmakaraka is Mercury. And the 12th Lord is Mars. And let us see the Amsha rulers. So how is Ketu? He is in Marutwan Shashtamsha. Do you know what Marutwan means? One of the Pratyah, he is the Pratyah Devata for Shukra in Satnarayana. What does Marut mean? Yeah. No. He's right. Wind. Yeah. Marutwan means basically, Van means one who possesses. So Marutwan, for example, Balwan means one who possesses strength. Buddhiman means, actually Man, that's a different one, but both Man and Van, they show somebody who has that one. What? Satyavan means one who possesses truth. So similarly, Van means one who possesses. Marutwan means one who possesses the strength of wind. Basically, this is, he is the god of strong winds, etc. He is the god of hurricanes, etc. And that is in a physical plane. But from a spiritual point of view, Marutvan is the god of strong determination, strong force. So, because this planet Rahu, Ketu is in Marutvan Shashtamsa, whatever it shows in the chart, the predisposition basically, it comes because of the karma from previous lives of strength, determination, etc. So, whatever Ketu shows is a very strong indication in this chart. Now, let us see how the Lagna Lord is. Where is Lagna Lord? Saturn. Because the Lagna Lord is the Buddhi, that is how you are applying your intelligence, the focus. Where is Lagna Lord? Lagna Lord is in the 8th house. Pardon me?
Rahu.
Yes, Rahu and Saturn, but who is stronger? Saturn is much stronger, undoubtedly. So, the Lagna Lord Saturn is in the 8th house. So, can it show interest in occult, etc.? Yeah, very well. If the Lagna Lord is in the 8th house, it can show interest in occult, mysticism, etc. But he is with Sun and Jupiter. What do Sun and Jupiter show? They show wisdom, power, etc. And both of them are Vedic planets. They are the traditional planets. So, this is not somebody. Lagna Lord is in the 8th house. They can be interested in mysticism, and it can be various experiments, tantra, that kind of things also. But the Lagna Lord is with Sun and Jupiter. So that is what is influencing his Buddhi Shakti. Because Lagna Lord shows the Buddhi, and that is being influenced by Jupiter and Sun. So it is a very sattvic. Both the planets are sattvic planets, Jupiter and Sun. So it's a very sattvic, traditional, religious kind of mysticism. Not religious kind of mysticism. So this is highly religious, highly conforming kind of mysticism. And are there any, let's see any special yogas. Instead of looking ourselves, let's see if there are any any yogas in the chart. There are too many yogas. For me? Yeah, I just want to see the yogas in the chart. First of all, are there any Parivraj yogas? Any Pravraj yogas? Does it say Pravraj yoga? Because there are various Pravraj yogas given by Parashara. And whatever yogas given by Parashara that are programmed into the software, they are not there. So there are, per se, there are no strong Parivraj yoga, no strong Sannyasi yoga, Sannyasi or Sannyasin yoga. Now, any other special yogas that stand out? Any other special yogas? Chamara yoga, Sankha yoga, these are all in general yogas that you find in many charts. Yogadas, there are several. Raj yogas you find in many charts. But you don't see anything special just based on yoga, indicating that the person will renounce the material world. That only shows whether the person is soft-spoken or hard, etc. It doesn't show. If you see the 3rd and 6th from Arudha Lagna, see who are occupying it and aspecting it. That will show whether the person is perceived as a sadhu or perceived as a blunt person. And if you see the 3rd house here, it is owned by Mercury and there is no planet here. It's basically a benefic house, but there are no planets there. And if you see the 6th house, there are Jupiter, Sun and Saturn. So there are benefics as well as malefics. So she may be interested in renouncing, but she may not be very easygoing, soft-spoken, sadhu kind of person. Sometimes she may be quite strong also. When she wants to achieve something, she may have a strong willpower also. She is not somebody who has just given up, takes willpower.
The willpower comes from the initiative itself.
Basically perceived willpower. If you see from the Arudha Lagna, if you see the 3rd and 6th, 3rd from Arudha Lagna shows the initiative that you are perceived to have, and 6th from Arudha Lagna shows the destruction of enemies that you are perceived to possess.
So it's like, that means it shows that she may not take initiative, but once she takes, she will finish it off.
Yes, she doesn't want to do things, but once she decides to do a particular thing, she will just finish it off. At least from the material point of view, when people look at her, that is what they see. What they see is, when she doesn't usually decide to do a lot of things. She doesn't want to do a lot of things. She just wants to take.
But that's just the image because you're looking from AL.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
If you look from ascendant, both 3rd house is empty and 6th house is benefit. So
6th house has Rahu. 3rd house is owned by Mars, Aries. So she will have lot of initiative. In reality, she will have a lot of initiative. That is what you can say.
And 3rd house, Lord is in the 4th house in the
Yeah, Mars is extremely strong in the chart. And if you look at the chart, if you want to see which planet stands out, there is one planet that stands out. Mars. Mars is giving Ruchaka Yoga. See, if you look at all the yogas here, there must be Ruchaka Yoga, yeah. One who has Ruchaka Yoga is a natural leader. The person is very enterprising and very bold. They basically don't follow people. People follow them. Whether they want to go create an army and displace a government, remove a government and bring up a new government by doing a coup in a small country, or whether they want to become sannyasi, whatever they want to do, they will do it with lot of strength, lot of willpower, and whatever they want to do, nobody can stop them. That is the characteristic of somebody who has Mars in an own sign or exaltation sign in a quadrant. So, one thing that should be clear from the chart is, forget whether the person is perceived to be a sadhu or whatever, but the person has lot of willpower and the person has lot of determination. Once the person decides to do something, the person will just do it. That is the nature of the person. And the person has lot of interest in mysticism. Things above the explainable. 8th house shows things above the explainable. She has deep interest in that because Lagna Lord is with Jupiter and Sun in that particular house. And then Ketu in the 12th house. So there is a strong desire to renounce. What is all this Maya? I'm not interested in this Maya kind of thinking will be present. Now if you look at the Navamsha, we don't know if this is accurate. How accurate is the chart? Okay, so it is, let's say, within 1 minute. So Navamsha is mostly accurate. So if you look...
I have a question.
Yes.
If let's say, if we are in the first one, giving that aspect, because Saturn, the Lagna or 8th house comes in one form.
Yeah.
8th house represents so much. So how should you decide?
Yes.
Where
If Lagna Lord is in 8th house, it would also show somebody who struggles a lot in their entire life. Yes. And just, there are many possibilities, and I am picking a possibility based on the information that I already know. If I know nothing and if I have to pick, then I wouldn't have picked just based on Rashi. I would have also consulted with the divisions. It would have been more difficult without knowing anything about the person. It would have become more difficult. But I do agree that with this Rashi chart, that is not the only possibility. There are several possibilities. Now, is the person, once again, actually let me ask one question. Is the person in general intelligent person?
I would say so.
Based on the chart, you know the person, so don't say
No, I'm going to explain it based on the chart.
Yeah.
Because the
Go ahead.
Lord is being in the 8th house, but it's Jupiter and Sun.
Yes.
And
That shows the basic intelligence, the defect. Now, do you see the Dhimanta Yoga? Yeah. 5th Lord Mercury and 6th Lord Moon, they are together and they are aspecting Lagna. If the 5th and 6th Lord are together in the house of protection and aspecting Lagna, does it give Dhimanta Yoga? Any links between 5th, 6th and Lagna is a Dhimanta Yoga, I told you earlier. Why? Because 5th shows scholarship and ability, innate ability. And the 6th house shows ability to overcome obstacles. If the lords are together, that means you are using your ability to overcome obstacles. And then if they are aspecting Lagna, they have something to do with Lagna, that basically manifests. So as a result, the aspect of Lagna, 5th Lord and 6th Lord on Lagna in conjunction gives a yoga known as Dhimanta Yoga. Are they close? Actually they are reasonably close, 5 degrees. So they are reasonably close. So there is a yoga known as Dhimanta Yoga given by them. For me, yeah, Dhimanta Yoga is not programmed in the chart in this software. Only yogas given by Parashara. What? What is it? What? Only the yogas given by Parashara are programmed here. But you will see that a related yoga, there is a yoga known as Shankha Yoga. If the 5th and 6th Lords are in mutual kendras and Lagna Lord is strong, then there is a yoga known as Shankha Yoga, and the results are wealth, good spouse and children, kind, pious, etc. But like I said, Shankha Yoga, Chamra Yoga, Bhiri Yoga, these are all standard yoga. Many people practice them. Yeah, there are Viparita Raj Yogas also, but forget all those things. Now let us go. So the person is, let us get the picture. This will be intelligent person. It's not somebody who is dumb and then who is not interested in the world. It's an intelligent person who, after deep thinking, doesn't find the world exciting enough to waste time. And then that spirituality is there, that interest in the unexplainable is there. And look at the Navamsha. How is Navamsha? The ninth lord of the Rashi chart is Venus. So he is the controller of the dharma at the physical level. And that Venus is he strong or weak here? He is very strong. Well, he is well placed, not very strong. He is actually weak. Being with Sun and Mars, he is being conversed and he is being basically beaten down. He is totally subdued. But he is giving a Raj Yoga, and a very uncomfortable Raj Yoga. The ninth lord and fourth lord is joining the seventh lord and tenth lord. So being the ninth lord joining seventh and tenth lords, two quadrant lords, Venus is giving a Raj Yoga. And moreover, the ninth lord of the Rashi chart being in a quadrant in the Navamsha is good. So overall, how is the dharma? How is the dharma of the person? Because ninth lord shows the dharma. The dharma followed at the physical level. So how is that here? He is very strong, but there is something undesirable about it. Because Venus is in an uncomfortable position there. And then if you see the Vimshamsa chart, this is the chart that shows the spirituality of the person. This is the chart that shows overcoming the obvious and then understanding something that is not clear from the obvious world. Basically rising above the obvious world, transcending the material and obvious world. That is what Vimshamsa shows. So let us see how much leeway we have. We have 41 seconds, earlier it changes. 2 minutes 49 seconds later the Lagna changes. So most probably it is either Libra or it could be Virgo also. It is one of the two. Let us see the Narayana Dasha. Let us see the Vimshamsa Narayana Dasha. And based on the little information that she has already given us, let us see if this Lagna is accurate or this Lagna in D20 has to be adjusted a little bit. So, assuming that this particular Lagna is accurate, right now she is running Aquarius Dasha. So Aquarius is, it is the fifth house of devotion, sadhana, etc. And the Lord Rahu and Shani. The stronger Lord is Rahu, and Rahu is in the 10th house of karma with Ketu. So basically, the Dasha has a link with Rahu and Ketu. Earlier I told that Rahu and Ketu are key planets in Vimshamsa. They give the desire to basically transcend this world. So there is a link, and also those Rahu and Ketu are in the Karma Sthana, and this is the fifth house of devotion. So suddenly lot of spiritual interest is possible. On the other hand, if you take Virgo Lagna, the sixth house Dasha is running. So it's not really both Rahu and Ketu in D20. In any case, they are together. Yeah.
Oh, they have to be together?
In D20, they have to be together.
Or somebody to be predisposed?
No. Each chart.
Oh, they are always together?
They are always together in D20. In the matter of spirituality, their agendas are totally together. But in the other matters, if you look at the matter of dharma, if you look at the matter of karma, D10, D9, their agendas are totally different. But there are certain areas of life where their agendas are together. Now, and there are some charts where their agendas are neither together nor opposite, but they are totally uncorrelated. For example, if you take the Hora chart, D2, the Kashinath Hora, in that chart, Rahu and Ketu can be anywhere. They don't have to be opposite or together. In most other charts, either they are together or they are opposite. They are pushing in two different directions or they are already together. But in that particular area, they don't know what the other is doing. They have their own, Rahu and Ketu have their own ideas in that matter. Anyway, coming back to this particular thing, so probably this Lagna, this Virgo, Libra Lagna is probably accurate. With the Virgo Lagna, the 6th house Dasha, with the Lord in the 11th house, I won't really expect lot of devotion, lot of interest in the spirituality, lot of interest in rising spiritually. I don't really see that in the current Dasha. So most probably this is right. Now let us see the D20 and see what it shows. What does this D20 show? How is Lagna and Lagna Lord? Lagna has Jupiter. The same Jupiter who is influencing the Lagna Lord in the 8th house of occult in Rasi chart, he is in the D20 Lagna. So the planet of Dhishakti is in Lagna, is influencing her very spiritual existence. And how is the Lagna Lord placed? Badly or well? Lagna Lord Venus is debilitated in the 12th house. Is it good or bad? Good from which point? Good from the point of view of spirituality, giving up, etc. If from other points of view, just get married, have children, but do some pujas every month, do a puja, and then have children and pursue money, etc. If that is the goal of somebody, this is not good. But from the point of view of spiritual rise, having the Lagna Lord in the 12th house in a moksha sthana, that too in debility, is a good blessing. So this shows that the person will have, this actually confirms what we see in the Rasi chart. This shows the person being very spiritual, the influence of Jupiter on Lagna and Lagna Lord in the 12th house. And how is
Jupiter here is 3rd and 6th lord.
Jupiter here is?
3rd and 6th lord.
Yes.
Is that auspicious?
Yeah, he is Jupiter.
Or just because it is
Just because Jupiter sitting in Lagna is excellent for that particular area of life in any divisional chart. Now, he is the 3rd and 6th lord. So what does it mean?
3rd house and 6th, basically you want to fight hard. So Jupiter
3rd house is fighting hard.
right. But is
3rd house is initiative. 6th house is struggle.
But Jupiter is very sattvic and mild. So
But not in this particular area of life. This is not a material chart. This is a spiritual chart. So when Jupiter owns the 3rd and 6th house in this particular chart,
he's fine.
he will give the initiative and the ability to go through the struggle is given by Dhishakti. And also you could say that the spiritual understanding comes without lot of struggle and lot of hard work also. It comes more naturally. So if you see Libra Lagna with Jupiter in Lagna, especially in D20, it is not at all bad. Even in other charts it is not bad. Because 3rd and 6th being owned by Jupiter means usually not much struggle. You don't have to struggle to understand yourself in D20. And you don't have to struggle to do your karma in the world, if it is in D10. So in general, Jupiter being the 3rd and 6th lord and being in Lagna is not at all bad, and definitely not in D20. So that knowledge comes easily to her. The spiritual knowledge is within her. Jupiter being sitting on the head, he is basically driving her head in spiritual matters, not in other matters, in spiritual matters. Now, how are other planets? Let us see the main Karaka. For Vinshansha, the main controlling planet is the 8th lord in the Rasi chart. Just like 9th lord in the Rasi chart is the controlling planet for Dharma and important in Navamsha, the 8th lord of the Rasi chart, the planet of occult, the planet of sadhana, that planet, the planet of tapasya, that planet is a key planet in Vinshamsa. See how well he is in this chart. And then based on it you can see whether that particular area suffers or goes up. So Mercury, the 8th lord in the Rasi chart, is again in the 8th house in D20. So that basically increases the 8th house results. So that tapasya, the sadhana, the desire to do the sadhana is very strong. There is a parivartana between the 8th and 12th lord. Is that good or bad?
In this case, it's good because of Lagna lord.
No, forget Lagna. When they are exchanging in a couple of houses, those two houses become more important than the other houses. 8th and 12th parivartana is good because in general, within any trikona, if the last of one trikona is exchanging with lord of another trikona, within the same trikona, dharma trikona, or artha trikona, or moksha trikona, or kama trikona, it is good basically. So 8th lord being in 12th and 12th lord being in 8th, the one who is told to give sadhana, tapasya, is in the house. The one whose agenda is to give him tapasya and sadhana, he is in the house of the result of the sadhana, which is complete detachment. And the one who is told to give detachment, complete detachment, moksha, is in the house of tapasya and sadhana to get that detachment, get that moksha. So there is a mutual interest basically. They share mutual interest. So that is very auspicious. So this particular Viparita Rajoga, software will show it as a Viparita Rajoga. But from the point of view of moksha, this Viparita Raj Yoga is actually, it's not a material Raj Yoga. This is a very auspicious Raj Yoga in this D20. So, and also moreover, I keep telling you many times, just because two planets are exchanging, 9th and 10th lord are exchanging, so Dharma Karma Ashtanga Yoga, or 8th and 12th lord are exchanging, Viparita Raj Yoga. We say all these names, but also you have to look at the natures of the planets. If the planets are unhappy with each other, if I say, hey Sriram, I'll go to your house and do so and so thing, you go to my house and do so and so thing, if he hates me, no phone rang now. If he hates me, he may not do it well. If I hate him, I may not do it well. But if we are good friends, then the result is given more fully. And our Mercury and Venus friends, they are pretty good friends. They are past. So because of that also, this yoga is quite strong. The effectiveness of the yoga is quite strong. Now, let us see how Atmakaraka is. Because Lagna is one interesting reference. That shows how you are using the God-given intelligence to basically progress. And Atmakaraka is the soul itself. So, what? Anything interesting? I see. Okay. So if you look at the Atmakaraka moon, from moon look at the Moksha Trikonas, 4th, 8th and 12th. You see anything interesting? You see Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu in the Moksha Sthana from the Atma. So what does Atma, so basically what does...
Is it only D9 or D20 also?
D9 is the main chart, but D20 is also important.
You came from D20.
Yeah.
The 12 from the moon.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the Moksha Trikonas in the D20 from Atmakaraka. And this shows basically the interest in the moksha, how close the soul is to the moksha. And you see that Rahu and Ketu are in the 12th house from Atmakaraka. And the Dasha that is running right now, which Dasha is it? If you look at Narayana Dasha of D20, where is Narayana right now? The Narayana who is basically in the 8th lord of the Rashi chart. The Narayana who is in the application of intelligence towards sadhana, towards tapasya. That Narayana, in her spiritual environment, in the spiritual environment that is supporting her existence, where is he right now? He was originally here, he progressed using this Dasha, based on this Dasha, and right now he is in Aquarius. Which house is it from Atmakaraka? It is the 7th house from Atmakaraka. So when you see that Narayana Dasha of D20 is in the 7th house from Atmakaraka, it means Atma is...
You change 1 and 7, is it in 1 first or 7th here?
Pardon me?
Do you see which house is strong and exit 1 and 7?
No. Oh, Dasha, this starts from Mercury itself.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'll repeat. See, how is this Narayana Dasha computed? You take the 8th lord of Rashi chart and place him in the Vinshamsa chart. So, Mercury is the 8th lord of Rashi chart, he is placed here. And 8th lord of the Rashi chart, what does he show? Physically, what is the sadhana I am doing? That is 8th house in the Rashi chart. And 8th lord of Rashi chart is the intelligence I am applying, my intelligence that I am applying to my tapasya and sadhana at the physical level. So where is Narayana as far as my spirituality is concerned? Where is Narayana? He is in the intelligence I am applying to my tapasya. That is where Narayana is sitting. And that Narayana, if you look in the Vinshamsa, which is the spiritual environment, in my spiritual environment, that Narayana is basically in the sign of Taurus when this person was born. And now, as the Dasha changes, he changes from here to Sagittarius, then to Cancer, and then to Aquarius. So right now, that Narayana is in Aquarius. So wherever Narayana is, that is where God is. So that is where the focus will be. So from the point of view of Lagna, the focus is on devotion, worship, meditation, sadhana, etc. Mantras, etc. That is what 5th house stands for. But from the point of view of Atma, the focus is on 7th house. What is 7th house from Atmakaraka? The desire of the Atma. The soul has a particular desire from the point of view of spiritual environment. There is a spiritual desire of the soul. And if you look at Navamsha, that will show the dharma. What is, from the point of view of dharmic environment, what is the desire of the soul? What kind of dharmic environment the soul wants to create? What kind of dharma the soul wants the person to follow? That is what the Navamsha, 7th house from Atma shows. In Vimshamsha, the 7th house from Atmakarka shows the desire from the point of view of which kind of spiritual environment to go to, which kind of spiritual environment to create. Relating to those matters, the Atma has certain desires which are governed by Rahu, Ketu and Aquarius. So the desire will become prominent. So this is another reason why the person has, especially I would say the last 1 year would have been really strong. Because in October 2004, the Aquarius Mahadasha started. So from then I would say the desire, the desire to grow spiritually, the desire to renounce, all this would have become really strong after this dasha. Pardon me? Okay, if Atmakarka, dasha containing Atmakarka is running, then Atma is basically shining. Atma is the focus of, Narayana is with the Atma. So Atma basically, more than getting any desire, is basically shining. Whatever it wants to do, it is already doing. Now Atma is not doing what it wants to do. So it is feeling the desire, I want to do this, I want to do this. That's what the soul is saying. If you look at if you take the first house from Atma, that is Atma itself. If Narayana is blessing that sign, Atma is shining. Whatever it came to do, it's already doing. And if the 12th house, Dasha is running, of course the Dasha ran, but she was too small then. But if the 12th house Dasha is running, that is basically Atma totally happy, not wanting anything more. Atma is so happy that it doesn't want anything more. So Atma is not perturbed. That is the 12th house from Atma. And what is the 8th house from Atma?
It is only because we are looking at differently, you are looking at the sadhana aspect.
I am looking at the sadhana aspect.
So that means she doesn't want to do any more sadhana, she doesn't want to get into, she is contented with sadhana, is that what it is?
Absolutely. When the Dasha comes.
Is that true with any chart, for example, if you take, I am off from that one.
Yeah.
But if you take Dasamsa and 12 from Atmakarka is running,
Yeah.
then that means the person is...
As far as the karma that the person is doing, Atma doesn't have any desires. Atma is happy during that time. He is totally happy during that time. Similarly, this is Atma. If you take Lagna, for example, if you take the 12th house from Lagna, it would show the person is basically giving up something. So the person may be very happy with what he is doing, no more desires in the career. Or it may be that the person is making a compromise, giving up something. There may be an opportunity to go to the next level, but he may decide, I don't want that level, I am happy here, and he may have compromise. So the 12th house can show various things. It can show having achieved what you set out to achieve, or deciding, I don't want to achieve anything. And when you are looking from Lagna, it is basically your intelligence. When you are looking from Atma, it is your soul. When soul has a desire, you are very restless, because soul doesn't have any other way to let you know that it desires something. It just makes you restless. When soul is completely happy, relaxed, then you don't feel any restlessness. You are totally at ease. So when you run the 12th house, the dasha of the 12th house from Atmakarka in any divisional chart, there will be less restlessness. You will be very relaxed and very... The happiness that can only come from the level of soul, that kind of happiness will come. That kind of relaxation that will come. Okay? And on the other hand, if the 4th house from Atmakarka, the dasha is running, again that is happiness of the soul, but this is a happiness where, this is not moksha, this is just the happiness of having the right direction. So again, you will not feel a lot of unease during such a time. You will feel happy, you feel as if you know what to do, you have a clear purpose and vision, you just do it. Whereas if it is the 8th house from Atmakarka, whose dasha is running, what does that show? Again it is a moksha trikona, but it is the house of tapasya, sadhana. So your soul basically knows what it wants to do, not only knows, but it's engaged in doing that. So during such a time, you may be working hard, but you are happy. You are happy doing that work. Whereas with the 12th house from Atmakarka, soul has got moksha in that particular area of life. Doesn't want anything more. Happy. Is fully contented. So during that dasha, the person will be relaxed, no restlessness. But if you take the Kama Trikonas, these are the desires of the soul, 3rd, 7th and 11th. So during those dashas, there will be some restlessness in the person because there is some desire. Yes. Any question?
If your 12th lord
Yeah.
and your 3rd lord
Yeah.
is Atmakarka in any particular chart,
It's your 3rd lord and
and the 12th lord.
Yeah.
If the 12th lord will give you that,
not only lord, I said 12. Any planet having to do with 12.
yeah, will give you that peace and rest,
Yeah.
while the 3rd will give you the rest.
Yeah.
But if it's the same lord for the 3rd and the 12th,
It will give both. It will give both the results. And when, that is tough to say. You have to look at the antardashas, etc., the subdivision, to say which periods are more conducive to which result. But it will give both the results. Okay? But again, if you are talking about the antardasha of the planet, if the Mahadasha Lord has a clear preference to one of those two signs, based on his own agenda, then only those results may be given more prominently. You understand what I am saying? Let us say somebody has Cancer Lagna, and Mercury is not Cancer Lagna, but Atmakarka in Cancer. And Mercury owns the 3rd and 12th from Atmakarka, and let us say 3rd house has Venus. And Venus Dasha, Mercury Mahadasha, Venus Dasha, Mercury Antardasha is running. Then Venus wants to give the 3rd house results. So those results may be more prominent. Okay? But remember this, Moon Lagna always shows how you are feeling. Normal Lagna always shows what you are doing. And Atmakarka shows what is driving you from inside. You can't feel it. There is something inside you that drives you. If your Atma doesn't want you to do a particular thing and you are doing it, you will know. If your Atma doesn't want you to fight with anybody and you are fighting with that person, you will feel so restless from inside. Of course, it depends on how strong your Atma is. But in general, if you are doing something your Atma doesn't want you to do, you just feel the pinch. You feel restless. You can detect what your Atma is, the conscience. So most of the times you can detect what your conscience wants you to do. But many times you may suppress it. But there is an Atma that is telling you what to do. So that is what Atmakarka shows. Okay? Yeah. Before I forget, Keshu just reminded that I haven't invited him for Saturn and Vratam. You are already invited privately. You mean the whole class. Maybe I don't want anybody to come. Maybe I want only you. Anyway, we have Satyanarayan Vratam on this Purnima. The Purnima will start on Wednesday morning and end on Thursday morning. So we'll be doing the Vratam on Wednesday night. So that will be 20 or 21st? 20th? Yeah. So 20 Wednesday, July 20, that is Guru Purnima day, Ashadha Purnima. So around 8 o'clock we'll be starting the Vratam and it will go on till around 10:45 or so. So and then you can have dinner also with the prasadam from the puja. So you are all most welcome to attend the Vratam. Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. Satyanarayan Vratam. Okay. Yes.
this aspect we are of course looking at this person is inclined to
Yeah.
move forward towards the spiritual path.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, would you also look at Navansha to see whether she is going to really renounce Maya, Moksha, and the material?
Why would Navamsa show renouncing the Maya?
No, like not getting married.
Navamsa is, we'll see that also. From the point of view of marriage, we'll see that. But overall, from what we have seen, this is a spiritual person. And now let us see what kind of karma.
But I've also seen, if you look at the exams,
Yeah.
next is Kanya. Narayan Datta is Kanya.
Is that?
Yeah.
No,
Virgo, it is going backward. Sutra prohibition, you are right. Yeah.
And then that means basically 12th house.
Yeah. That is even more conducive. Yeah. That is even more conducive.
Oh, you look at it, you don't see the next time you see the previous one?
No. Look at the Dasha. Aquarius Dasha is running from 2004 to 2011. And from 2011 to 2015, Virgo Dasha will run. which is likely to be a very important dasha because it has Lagna law. It's a very important dasha. The 12th house dasha. So it's a very important dasha from the spiritual point of view. Okay, now see, there are several charts that are important. D20 shows spirituality, spiritual environment. D10 shows the karmic environment, the professional environment. What kind of environment in which you do work? What kind of work you do? Are you an engineer? Are you a spiritualist? Because if she wants to be a sannyasi and go to a ashram or something, that should be seen in the Dashamsa also. It should be seen in Navamsa because Navamsa shows what kind of dharma she is following. But Dashamsa is definitely an important chart. So that is why I opened Dashamsa. Do you see any?
10,000 Rasis are also should be.
Yeah. Now let us see the 10th Lord of Rashi chart. Who is the stronger 10th Lord? Who is the stronger 10th Lord? Yeah. When one of the two planets owning the house is in one house, the other planet should be taken. Yeah. So Ketu gives the results of being the 10th Lord. So in Rashi chart, the 10th Lord is in 12th house of renunciation. And also he is Ketu. So the karma that she does, being a sannyasin kind of karma, is it possible? It is quite possible. And now let us look at Dashamsa. How is the 10th Lord in Dashamsa? Now who should you take as 10th Lord in Dashamsa? One second. Listen carefully. When you take the 10th Lord of Rashi chart and place him in the Dashamsa, who should you take as 10th Lord? Mars or Ketu? When you take the stronger Lord position in Dashamsa, you should take the stronger Lord in Dashamsa itself, not in Rashi. In this chart, Ketu is stronger in both, but let us say Mars was stronger in Rashi chart. But still in the Dashamsa, if Ketu is stronger, you would take Ketu to be the 10th Lord of Rashi chart, as far as Narayana Dasha is concerned, and seeing where Narayana is concerned. The stronger 10th Lord of Rashi chart with the strength seen in the Dashamsa is important. Do you understand what I am saying? When I say take the 10th Lord of Rashi chart, see where he is in Dashamsa. When I say that, if there are two 10th Lords in Rashi chart, to see the stronger one, as far as you are seeing Dashamsa position, you should see the strength in Dashamsa. So you should see whether Mars is stronger or Ketu is stronger in Dashamsa. And
so that means, right? It doesn't matter who is the Lord in the Rashi at that point. You just take both of them.
Yes. So in this particular environment, if one of the 10th Lords is stronger, because Narayana is both in Mars and Ketu. So from the point of view of the physical work he does, Mars and Ketu are both the intelligences driving it. So Narayana is in both of them. So to see how that Narayana is influenced by the professional environment, see the Narayana who is stronger in the professional environment. So that is an important point. So in any case, it makes no difference here. Ketu is the one. So in Dashamsa, out of Mars and Ketu is stronger. So how is Ketu? Is he well placed? Yeah, he is well placed in the 10th house of karma. So he will do some good karma basically. Good karma relating to Mercury and Ketu. Now, are there any important yogas in this chart? What is the most important yoga in this chart according to you? Gajakesari yoga. The yoga that makes somebody well known, popular. And also it's not only Gajakesari yoga, but it is conjunction of Lagna Lord and 9th Lord. Lakshmi yoga. This will be somebody who knows his dharma and follows the dharma well. Somebody whose intelligence is in connection with his dharma. Now,
And that yoga is happening in 12 houses.
that yoga is again happening in the very good point. 12th house of moksha. 12th house of giving up, being happy, not struggling and working hard for something. Being happy, being relaxed. So, because the Gajakesari yoga and Raj yoga, Lakshmi yoga happens in the moksha sthana, again this is showing spiritual power. And the 10th house has Ketu, and who is joining Ketu? Third and 12th Lord. So again, Ketu is the Karaka for moksha, and the 12th Lord is joining Ketu, and the most important planets and yoga of the chart is in the 12th house. So 12th house is getting huge focus, lot of focus. So, and you can see the amshas. Jupiter is in Brahmamsha, Moon is in Brahmamsha. So what would that show? Digging deeper. That's what the two planets are showing, Moon and Jupiter. So when it comes to the spiritual path and moksha, etc., she will want to read lot of literature, read Bible or Gita or whatever books that she believes in, understand, dig deeper, and basically she'll be a researcher, but in the path of moksha, basically. A researcher in the line of moksha. And quite well known because Moon and Jupiter are together. So, reasonably famous person. And Mercury is in Kuberamsha and Ketu is in Yamamsha. So, Ketu being in Yamamsha, what would that show? See, Mercury is in Kuberamsha. Kubera shows money, resourcefulness, etc. And it doesn't fit with the rest of the chart that she will make money, etc. But you can conclude that she will be dealing with a lot of money. She may be dealing with a lot of money, etc. wherever she goes. And Ketu is in Yamamsha. So what would that show? Very disciplined. So Ketu being in the 10th house, being the 10th lord of Rasi chart, in Yamadashamsa, can you show an ascetic who follows strict rules, etc.? It can show an ascetic. So looking at the Dashamsha, Vinshamsha, Rasi and Navamsha so far, it does seem actually very likely that this person will become an ascetic and live a spiritual life at a monastery or something like that. It is actually quite possible. So, and Mars is having Parivartana with Mercury, yes.
Oh wow. That is good because the two 10th lords from Rasi now are going to come together in the 10th house.
Yes. So, yes, exactly.
But the person is not following the parampara tradition.
Right.
Venus, Ketu and Saturn.
That is Tapasya Yoga.
That is
Not tradition.
Not following tradition.
Following a tradition is shown by Ketu. Ketu is the Karaka for Parampara.
Okay.
And Ketu is quite strong here.
Very strong.
So she could actually be in a bona fide lineage of master, student, successor. And now this Mars, so Mercury is in an exchange with Mars. And so Mercury acts as though he is Mars. And so basically, once the exchange has been triggered, Mars will act as though he is in the 10th house. So Mars and Ketu in the 10th house, that will show this whatever spirituality that she wants to follow. There will be lot of vigor, lot of aggression, lot of energy and fire within her in this particular path. So in the beginning, the fire may not be there, but once the Parivartana has been triggered, there will be lot of fire in the person. And Mars is in Ishana Dashamsa. So that shows basically not only being at a monastery and doing sadhana, etc., but doing some worship, doing some religious procedures, etc. Ishana shows procedures, religious worship. So because another planet in Ishana Dashamsa is in Lagna, Shani. And this Mars, an important planet, Yogaraka in the chart, he is also in Ishana Dashamsa. He is also 10th lord in the Dashamsa chart. So the professional environment that she is dealing with will also involve worship, etc. So even if this is an ashram where people are doing tapasya, sadhana, etc., she may also be worshipping some god there. There may be a small temple. She may be in charge of some worship there, etc. So that worship part also will be there. But overall, from whatever we have seen so far, the indications are actually, fortunately or unfortunately, I can't judge that, but indications are very likely that whatever she has been saying she wants to do, it is basically this time. There are strong chances that she will actually quite successfully go in that path and do well. Not somebody who will try and then come back. Like in 60s, so many people were interested in spirituality, and spirituality basically first it started with worshipping some gods, etc. But it finally ended with just taking drugs and then ruining their lives. So this is not basically a confused spiritual person. This does seem like a bona fide person really interested in spirituality who may find the path in this life. Just out of curiosity, we don't know Shashtamsa is accurate or not, just check the Shashtamsa. So 41 seconds it will change. So that is basically In Nishamsa, we saw that Virgo did not make sense, Libra made sense. So we decided that 41 seconds earlier is not true. So it is basically either Leo or 29 seconds later it can change to Virgo. So the Shashtyamsa Lagna is most probably either Leo or Virgo. Okay. If Leo, what can you say about the past life? Assuming Leo is right. Just some basic things about past life. Take the AL. AL is in Scorpio. So Lagna has Mars, Sun and Ketu. Jupiter is in the 5th house. So what can you say from that?
It's house Jupiter in Pisces. So
Yeah.
it definitely must have been very devotional person.
Why is very devotional? Mars and Sun there.
Mars and Sun.
Ketu is also there, but Mars and Sun being there, Ketu will not really dominate. Sun and Mars are friends, whereas Ketu is an enemy of Sun. And both Mars and Ketu are in one sign. You can't say that Ketu is in one sign so strong. Mars is also one sign. So when Sun is also helping him, they will dominate. They will shut down Ketu. So if Sun and Mars are in Lagna, it will be somebody who is very dominant, political kind of person, very powerful person, etc. And very knowledgeable because Jupiter is in the 5th house. But it will be somebody very Martian and so on. Now, on the other hand, if Virgo is the Lagna, let's say time was off by 29 seconds, and Virgo was the Lagna, what would be the AL? AL would have been? No. Look at A2. Cancer. So Arudha Lagna would have been in Cancer had Lagna been Virgo here. See, Lagna changes 29 seconds later. So if we change it to the next Lagna, change the time by half minute, and if the Shashtyamsa Lagna was Virgo, it would not change any of the charts we have seen so far. Because if you remember the leeway we had, it would not change any of the charts. It would change only Shashtyamsa, and then Arudha Lagna would be in Cancer. So in the past life, she would have been what kind of a person?
Compassionate. Also, Lagna.
Well, now, once again, now the 8th house has Shani and Mercury. The 12th Lord Mercury and 8th Lord Saturn are together in the 8th house. So again, somebody very interested in mysticism. Viprit Raj Yoga, but again, the sign Aquarius is also sign of mysticism philosophy. And 8th Lord and 12th Lord are there. So somebody who is interested in mysticism. 9th Lord Jupiter. So somebody who had a very good guru, strong sense of dharma, and Ketu, Sun and Mars in the 5th house. So somebody who had a lot of fire, but that fire not relating to Lagna, but relating to 5th house. So somebody who is very devotional, somebody who has very fiery devotion, highly religious, fierily religious, and also very dharmic because of Jupiter and interested in mysticism. So this would show, this would basically suggest, this seems more likely, given that she is interested in spirituality in this particular life, that Shashtyamsa is more likely. Virgo. So time could be off by half minute. Okay. You just make notes in my heart so that okay. Yeah, let us see Navamsha, see marriage, etc. in Navamsha. So, Sannyasa part we are not sure. Not having children and husband, we are not 100% sure of it. But definitely somebody who is very spiritual, somebody who will basically be at an ashram, not really work at a big corporation and look at what should we do so that the revenue increases to $2 billion. What should I do so that my salary increases by $50,000? It's not somebody who is going to go down that path. somebody who wants to see God, but we are not sure if she will be a sannyasi. So we will come back to that. Quickly, let us see the Mooladasha to illustrate what we saw in the last class. So she is running Jupiter Mooladasha, and Jupiter is what Amsha is in? Saumya Shashtyamsha. So the karma that he represents from the past life is very flowery like, basically very tender, very nice, very fragrant. That is the kind of karma that Jupiter shows from the past life. And his dasha is running right now. Okay? And how is Jupiter? Now don't look at Arul Lagna. Look at current Lagna. From this Lagna, Jupiter is in the 7th house. So what would he show? Some strong desire relating to Pisces, relating to auspicious things, relating to spirituality. Pisces can also show spirituality, the knowledge of Rishi, Ashadharma. So strong desire relating to Jupiterian matters and Piscean matters. So that strong desire will be given at the karmic level. That is the result given. And he is in Saumyansha, so it is auspicious. There are no negative things. And
that also shows that the descendant is more in the go rather than in the end. Because in the current life
yeah, possibly, but we can't really rectify confidently just based on it. But that is definitely a good point, yes. Now let us go back to the Navamsha. See if there is a chance of marriage at all. What is the dasha she is running right now? Which dasha should we use? Which nakshatra dasha? I want to use nakshatra dasha. Can somebody tell me which nakshatra dasha I should use? Good. 10th Lord in 10th house. So, which dasha? Shatabdika is Vargotama. So you remember the criteria, but you don't still remember which dasha for which criteria. But that is good. You are half the way there. Chaturasi is Samadasha, the 84-year equal dasha. So if you look at this dasha, what dasha is running right now? Mercury dasha. Mercury dasha is running right now. And is this dasha conducive to marriage? In the Rashi chart, he is the 5th and 8th Lord. Okay. So we all say Shatabdika, so based on a wrong criterion, that is also right. So let us switch to Shatabdika. Because that is
more rare.
More what? Is it more rare? No. Equal probability, 1/12. But it is more here, higher here. Probability is the same. Actually, you know what? Probability is not the same.
I think both the charts, 1/12, 1/12.
No, actually, Shatabdika has a lower probability.
Why is that? Okay, I think 1/12 in
It's not. Actually, Shatabdika has higher probability. Because in any Rashi, Navamsha, there are only 9 possible Navamsha. There are not 12 possible Navamsha. Given the Rashi, there are only 9 possible Rashi. And in some Rashis, it is not even possible. So, see, let me put it this way. There are 108 Navamsha. In the 108 Navamshas in the Zodiac. Lagna can be in any of those. And out of those 108, how many Navamshas are Vargotama Navamshas? 12. So it's basically 12 over 108. So it is 1/9. It's not 1/12. It's 1/9. Basically we assume that in any Rashi, given any Rashi, all the 12 Navamshas are possible. They are not. Only 9 are possible. So as a result, it's basically 1/9. So 1/9 and 1/12. So which is more?
How can you say 10th house? There are 2 lords. Now you have to say only.
Yeah. So there are 10 signs for which there is only 1 Lord. So if it is in any of those 10 signs, the probability, those of you who are weak in math, just bear with me and Sriram, a couple of engineers for a few minutes. So if for 10 signs, Lagna has an equal probability of being in any of the 12 signs. So all the 12 signs have an equal probability. Now, out of those, for 10 signs, the probability of 10th lord being in 10th house is 1 over 12. Because there is only one lord. You understand?
Yeah.
For the other two,
2 lords.
there are 2 lords. So, what is the probability of 10th lord in 10th house? We take any of the 2 lords, either of the 2 lords. So, the probability of one planet being in one sign is 1 over 12. The probability of 2 planets being in one sign is 1 over 12 plus 1 over 12 minus 1 over 144. So, it's roughly 1 over 6. Let us say it is roughly 1 over 6. So, it's 10 times 1 over 12 plus 2 times 1 over 6 divided by 12. Is that clear?
Right.
So, it's basically 10 plus 10 times 1 over 12 plus, I said 2 times 1 over 6. So, that is basically 4 over 12. So, 14 over 12, 14 over 144. Right? So, roughly 110. 14 over 144 is roughly 0.097.
Because one is 159, the other one is almost
Yeah,
159.
they are close, but this is actually more unlikely. Chaturasthi Samradha is a more unlikely one, but the probabilities are very close, and also year-wise, Shatabdika is higher than Chaturasthi Samradha. So we may be tempted to use which Dasha do you think is more appropriate?
Do you use the longer one or the shorter one?
Usually longer one is preferred. So actually I am not 100% sure of which Dasha should be used in this particular case, but my gut feeling is Shatabdika Dasha is more appropriate than the Chaturasthi Samadasha. So let us use Shatabdika Dasha. As per Shatabdika Dasha, what Dasha is she running right now? She is running Jupiter Dasha. And Jupiter, the same Jupiter who is in the 8th house in Rasi chart, who is in Lagna in Vishamsha, who is in the 12th house in Dashamsha, etc. And what Antardasha is she running right now? She is running studies Antardasha right now. So, yeah, in D9. First, I am just looking at Rasi. So basically the 8th house has a yoga between Jupiter and Saturn in the 8th house. So that yoga is giving its full results now. Like the interest in occult, the interest of intelligence in Vedic knowledge, pursuing Vedic knowledge or any traditional knowledge, all those results are being given right now. From 2004 October, from Samadar Dasha also we thought 2004 October was an interesting time. After that there is more of those results based on I think Inchamsa Narayan Dasha, which is the same thing in Shatabdika Dasha. So we can conclude that from 2004 October there would be very strong interest in pursuing this path. Now, is this Dasha and Antardasha conducive to getting married? Yeah. There is a Rashi, but that's it. So there is a chance, but that's it. That's a very weak point. It's a very weak point. Now, if you look at the 7th house in Navamsha, Sun and Mars are really strong there.
You have Karaka is also there.
The Karaka Venus is also there. So you would expect one of those planets to be giving the marriage. And unfortunately those dashas are not running right now. Anywhere close. The Antardasha will come. The Antardasha of
2010.
Sun in Jupiter Antardasha, that will come. When will it come?
2010 October.
It will come in 2010 October. So then there is some chance of marriage. Sun can give marriage. But I won't expect Saturn to give marriage. So there is no chance, I don't see any chance of getting married or any chance of even having interest in marriage at the current point of time. So maybe after 2010, after 5 more years, maybe she will think in terms of marriage. But if the 7th house strong, do you think that the person will get married? What is your honest opinion? We saw all those spiritual yogas, etc. But what is your honest opinion about marriage?
It's very strong. I think it's
The 7th house is very strong. And how is the Upada here? The Upada and the 12th.
Venus is
Upada Lord is in a quadrant from Upada and having Argada on it. And Upada Lord, Mercury, is not bad at all. Second Lord from Upada. But usually for Taurus Upada people, marriage is tough to come. It comes after a lot of effort. This is just a general dictum, general guideline. For Taurus, if Taurus is the Upada, marriage is very difficult for those people.
because Mercury is the one that's supposed to be.
Mercury and also Gemini is Yeah, it's a twin. So basically there are several directions. So it's difficult to find the right direction when it comes to marriage. So overall, marriage will not come very easily, but I am not at all convinced that she will not marry in her entire life. I tend to believe that for now she may go down the spiritual path, and I don't see any point in telling her no, you have to get married, have children, etc. It may not have any impact on her at this point of time. But my sincere belief is, after 2010, there is a reasonable chance that she will get married. And whether the dasha is right or not, given the strength of Navamsha, in whichever dasha, maybe this dasha is not right, I don't know. But sometimes she has a very good chance of getting married. I won't really rule out marriage for her.
I would think it's mostly in the Venus period because in Rasi, 7th house Venus is there.
Yeah.
Also in Navamsa, Venus is in the 7th house.
That is quite possible. I just wanted it to happen earlier. That's why I picked Sun. But definitely, yeah, Venus is the strongest indicator because he's also Upada Lord in both Rati and Navamsa, if you see both the charts. And if you see the Navamsa Narayana Dasha, the Navamsa Narayana Dasha is I don't clearly see when the marriage is likely to happen. When I look at various dashas, the picture is very, very hazy. But I have a feeling that she will get married. I'm not sure of when, but definitely not in the next 5 years. So take it. My advice would be, if the parents can afford to do it, take it easy for now. Let her do what she wants to do, and then God will make her marry at a later point of time when the right time comes. And let us see Saptamsa to see if she is destined to get children. The 5th lord of the Rashi chart is the controlling planet for children. Where is he? Mercury. Where is he? He is in a quadrant in the Saptamsa. He is well placed in a friendly house. So that is auspicious. Now, how is Jupiter? Jupiter is an important planet for children. Karaka basically. How is he in Saptamsa? 11th house in own sign. And the leeway we have is 6 minutes and 3.75 minutes. So we have enough leeway. This Saptamsa is accurate. So Jupiter is quite strong. And the controlling planet for women is the ninth lord in Saptamsa. Now, ignoring the Rashi, just looking at Saptamsa, the controlling planet is the 9th lord. So from Taurus, the 9th lord is Shani. Is he well placed? He is well placed in Lagna. Parvatna between who? No, I am talking about Capricorn lord, Saturn. The 9th lord of the Saptamsa or the 5th lord of Saptamsa is the controlling planet for male and female charts. 9th lord for female and 5th lord for male. So Taurus rises in Saptamsa, the 9th lord Saturn is in Lagna. So what? Yeah, he's in Mangasthana. That's a good point, but still he's in a friendly house in a quadrant or in a trine. So it's not bad. So yeah, he's in Mangasthana. For me, yeah, there is a blemish, but I see it as fine. And now, to see, is there now see the first child. The first child, what can you say about the first child, assuming that she has a child? Overall, looking at other factors, it looks likely that she will have children. And if you look at the Lord of the Capricorn, he will show the first child. And he is in Taurus. So what kind of person? Somebody very hardworking.
Also, probably a girl, because
Even house, even sign, planet is Saturn, yeah, likely to be a girl.
And similar to how she, because everything is, the Lagna is right there, and the girl.
Very similar from the point of view of Saptamsa, not from the point of view of Rashi. Yeah. She's basically very close to mother. That's all you can say. But what are the natures of the person? Ketu is in the 8th house.
11th house is Gadgeshwari Yoga. Jupiter is his own house.
Yeah, Jupiter and Moon in giving Gadgeshwari Yoga. So somebody who's fortunate and somebody who's very harshly spoken, because Mars and Rahu are in the 2nd house. Mercury and Rahu, yeah. So actually it's not that bad. Then once the Parivartana has been triggered, Mercury will act as if he is in Gemini. So he will dominate over Mars. And then first they will be harsh speech in life, but later she will turn into a very nice speaker. Child. And then Ketu in the 8th house, so again somebody very spiritual, somebody who is interested in the knowledge of occult, etc. Yeah.
Fourth house is Sun.
Yeah.
His own house.
Yeah.
Sukhastana.
Yeah.
The directions he's going to take for moksha, etc. He'll be a fairly happy person.
Equally happy person. Yeah.
No.
Okay. That's enough. But looking at various factors, it does look. And by the way, is there a chance of second child? That is first child. We talked about the first child. Will there be a second child? So if there is a second child, we have to cross over Ketu. So it's very unlikely. There is some chance, but very unlikely. So it's likely that she will have one child and a girl. And it is likely that she will get married. So my feeling is that eventually she will get married. First she wants to renounce the world. Then she will understand, actually this world, this Maya world exists for a purpose. Wow, first world will look like Maya. This is nonsense. Why do I want to go through this? After you try to understand the world and understand who you are better, after you understand the nature of Shiva and Shakti, then you will understand that, well, the Maya has a purpose. And then, for example, if you take a Jivan Mukta, the person may be living and yet gotten moksha, but the person will be going through the chores of the world, because that is the desire of the Shakti, desire of the Divine Mother. So there may be some who don't appreciate it, who don't want that anything to do with that, and some people who will want to respect the material world, because even though this is Maya, this is the will of Shakti, this is the will of the Divine Mother. So she will have to go through those steps of spiritual evolution, and once she realizes that, then she will realize that marriage and getting children is not really a bad thing, as long as you do it without any desire, as long as you do it without being bonded, because you can go through the Maya of the whole world, do everything that everybody else does, but without any desire, without any being free from the bandha, being free from the bond also you can do it. Such a person is called Jivan Mukta. And there were several Jivan Muktas in the last few centuries, and there will definitely be more Jivan Muktas. And if you are a Jivan Mukta, you basically got moksha. You are not touched by the karma that you do, because you do it without any bandha. You understand. Most of us, we think, I should do this or do this or do this. If I do this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. So let me do whichever seems more favorable, more auspicious to the rest of the world, and then you make decision. But somebody who realizes the God within, they know exact purpose, not from the point of view of their intelligence, but from the point of view of supreme intelligence. They know the purpose of everything. So some of the things they do may look very weird, but they know the exact purpose. And they do things for the right cause. They are not bonded by their own desires, etc. And those people, they do go through everything. They get married, they get children, they do things, they go to work, they work. So she may be destined for that kind of spiritual path. But that kind of spiritual path is tougher to come, and it will not come in the first step, it will come in steps. So first let her renounce the world, but eventually my gut feeling is, my sincere belief is that she will come back to the material world, even though without any bonding, basically, without any desire. Usually such people find spouses in the same field, in the same ashram or in a nearby ashram. But let us look at the Navasa, the Navamsha. What can you say about the spouse? How do you see the spouse?
Like my 7th house. 7th house is unplotted in the same house. The Lagna itself is 0.
Yeah.
If you look at it, he is Martian. So it's pretty much very aggressive. Somebody in a high power. Because 7th house is Navamsha. And the house itself is the Lagna.
Okay. So if you want to draw some conclusions about the spouse, should you take the 7th house or 7th lord or A7 or 7th lord Zaharud? Yeah. Okay. So to see the material aspects of that person, take the 7th lord Graharudha, and to see the true nature of the person, take the 7th lord. So let us look at the material image of that person. What kind of person he is in the material world. So let us take the Graha Rudha of the 7th Lord. So let us select standard view with Graha Rudha. So instead of A7, let's look at L7 now. So where is L7? It is in Taurus. So let us take Taurus as Lagna. So what can you say about the person?
Exalted moon.
So exalted moon. Is he a very easy person, very compassionate? He's seen as a very compassionate and very kind person, very easygoing person, but at the same time hardworking person. He's seen as a hardworking person, practical person.
Exalted moon.
Taurus basically shows practicality.
And 9th house has Jupiter for him.
9th house has Jupiter, even though in debility with Rahu. So what does it show?
Some kind of
Does it show Dharma?
No, it doesn't.
shows Dharma, but Rahu influences.
Yeah. So there is a Gurjandal Yoga. There is an influence of Jupiter and Rahu. Does it show somebody who is in the Moksha Marga or slightly different path? Religious but in a different way. And the 4th house has Mars, Sun and Venus. What can you say? Somebody with lot of vehicles, somebody with lot of land, properties, etc. And Mercury in the 12th house. The 5th Lord Mercury is in the 12th house. So what would that show? Somebody who is very well learned, somebody who has a lot of occult knowledge. If the 5th Lord is in the 12th house, there will be a scholar in occult knowledge. Why? Because the 5th Lord is in 8th house from the 5th house. So he will have 6th house results relating to 8th house. If you see the 5th Lord placement from the 5th house, you will see what kind of scholarship. 5th Lord shows scholarship. So if the 5th Lord is in 8th from 5th, the scholarship will be relating to 8th. So there will be occult knowledge. If the 5th Lord is in, let us say, 2nd house, so he is in the 10th from 5th. So scholarship relating to 10th house. So scholarship relating to work, profession, karma kanda, etc. So like that, based on the house occupied by the planet from the own house, from that you can draw conclusions about the qualities of scholarship he gives. Similarly for 10th house also, if you see the 10th Lord, where is he from 10th house? So based on that house, you can draw conclusions about what kind of career he gives. Okay. Is she of Indian origin? Okay. So the person is of Indian origin, so she is interested in knowing whether this husband is also of Indian origin. It is tough to know. But let us see, are there any Rahu influences on the husband? That would show foreigner or somebody from a different culture. Do you see any of that? Dharma, but on Lagna, you don't really see any influence. So there is some chance. Yeah. Yeah, there are aspects. So there is some chance. So there is some chance. I can't say conclusively, but what I will say is he will not be fully like her. He will not be a person who is more interested in moksha. He will be a very learned person, very knowledgeable person, very God-fearing person. He will be a dharmic person, even though he has some practicality in the matter of dharma. And he will be a very hard-working person because Taurus and Shani is aspecting. Very hard-working person, very kind, compassionate person, and probably very rich person also. But he may not be exactly like her. But we don't know why they find each other attractive, why he would want somebody who doesn't want anything to do with material life and wants moksha, and why she would want somebody like him. But it's very likely that she will find somebody probably outside the setting of ashram. Maybe somebody who visits the ashram, who's religious and believes in whoever Swamiji that ashram keeps visiting. Maybe they become fond of each other and marry. I don't know exactly what will happen, but it's very likely that she will marry, and she will marry a slightly different person compared to her own interests. And it is likely to happen at least after 5 years. Yeah.
Before we also talked about taking the house itself as Lagna.
House Lord itself as Lagna. House itself will show what kind of marriage. House Lord will show what kind of person he really is.
Sure.
Not perceive, but internally what kind of person he is. So what kind of person is he? Mars, Sun and Venus in Lagna. So somebody who is very fiery, very aggressive. Whatever he wants to do, he just does it in a very authoritative way, a doer basically. And Ketu in the 12th house. So actually he is interested in moksha. That is why he is interested in her. But he does not seem like he is not a sannyasi. He is not always sitting and meditating. He seems to be doing so many things. So from the point of view of world, when world sees him, the world doesn't see him as a great moksha kind of person. The world may see her as a spiritual person, but not him. World will see him as a slightly different kind of person. As an intelligent person, but not exactly a moksha kind of person. But in reality, he is a moksha kind of person. And see Saturn in the 8th house. The parivartana between Jupiter and Saturn. So 8th house is quite strong. So he is interested in occult. Yes.
So, how she substitutes?
May not be. See how he actually is. And usually, how the spouse perceives you, it is a mixture of the Arudha and the Lord. Because when somebody is living closely with you, they get to know some reality. Even you don't know your full reality. The person himself knows some reality, some Maya. The spouse knows some reality, some Maya. And the whole world knows maybe a little bit of truth, but mostly Maya. So for the world, he is not a very spiritual person, but in reality, he is actually somebody who desires moksha, who wants moksha. That may be why he goes to the ashram and he likes her and she likes her. So, but one thing I can say based on both aspects is, he is a very successful person from the material point of view. Yes? The nature of relationship as far as world is concerned. How? This is world's view. Because this is an Arudha, this is world's view, world's perception. And because this is inanimate Arudha, this is Arudha of a house, not house lord, not intelligence, but inanimate thing. So, cannot be world's image of the person, because person is animate. But it is the world's view of the relationship itself. What kind of relationship do they have? Are they happy together? Are they a good couple? Do they make a good couple? Do they make a bad couple? Are they a misfit? Are they doing dharma together? Are they, what kind of things they are doing together? Relating to all these matters. World has certain perceptions. So this is world's perceptions of the relationship. So that is it. Okay? Yes? Yeah? Yeah? Who is Devagata? Yes, yes. Yeah? Who comes in 12th house to Venus? Yeah? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Moon is in? Looking at it, can you tell? When sun and moon conjoin, the Suklapaksha starts. When moon is going ahead, it's Suklapaksha. When moon is here, opposite, it is Purnima. As it comes back, it is Krishnapaksha. So obviously, it's Suklapaksha. Like Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, like that. Maybe Chaturthi, no Tritiya. Depending on the degree. Yeah? Yeah, yeah. So thanks to Palani for those. additional thoughts based on the Nadi principles, but even based on the normal standard principles that we've been using, we see that he's a very influential person, very powerful person, very well-known person, spiritual person, etc. But seen by the world more as a compassionate, kind person than as a spiritual person. That is how the world knows him. Now, we will conclude for today, but the concluding remarks are, I think that this lady is destined to go in the spiritual path. If she wants to be a sannyasin and go to a monastery, I don't find any logic in stopping her. But I am not afraid that she will not have children, she will not get married. My feeling is, after some initial growth, spiritual growth, she will realize that she needs to get married, and she will go back to the grihasthashram. She will go to the grihasthashram and get married, get children, etc. But she will find a husband who will respect her interest in spirituality and let her follow her spiritual path in life. So may God bless her with the right path, right spiritual path in her life. And one thing I can suggest is, Mercury is in Martian sign. You see Mercury in a Martian sign in the Navamsha, so definitely it has to be a Vishnu avatar. A Vishnu avatara can give her moksha because of Mercury. And then the avatara can be a Martian avatara because Mercury is in a Martian sign. So worshipping Narasimha, any form of Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha, Udra Narasimha, Jala Narasimha, any form of Narasimha, that is good too. Shiva, if you see, Sun shows Shiva. Sun is in the 4th house from Atmakarka. So he doesn't give moksha to the Atma, but he gives direction to the Atma. From the point of view of what dharma the person should follow. When Atma wants to decide, hey, you follow this dharma, then Atma is on the job of deciding the path of the person, the dharma of the person. He gives direction to the soul so that it can set the dharma for the person. So that is what Sun will do. So that is also good. And also he is aspecting the 12th house. So Sun is definitely good. Shiva worship is very good. But eventually, when she starts worshipping Narasimha, it may not happen immediately. But eventually when it happens, then she will actually become close to the moksha. So he is the God, he is the deity who can give her moksha. She can continue to worship Shiva. But my advice is, worship Narasimha, especially there is a mantra known as Mantra Raja Krita Stotram. Mantra Raja Padastotram. Shiva Krita Mantra Raja Padastotram. It is a stotra in worship of Narasimha written by nobody but Lord Shiva. So there is a long stotram and also there is a small mantram which you can get by taking the first words of the stotram. That mantra is supposed to be extremely guhyam, extremely secretive. So I don't want to say that mantra here. But if she finds somebody who can give the Mantra Raja Padastotram and the associated mantra, if she practices that mantra, that will really take her towards moksha. That will be the best thing for her. So that is my advice, and with that I end for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah, let's stop. Next week.